What's going on, everyone? The market had some pretty big moves today in both directions. About 80% of stocks in the S&P 500 finished in the red today, with some of the most significant movers being Nvidia and Tesla to the downside, among a lot of other ones. But in today's video, we're going to talk about what is happening in the market right now, the top setups and stocks to watch for tomorrow, and some other important things to know. We're heading into Friday tomorrow, as we all know, which brings some of the craziest moving options of the entire week, as it is expiration day. So we're set for an exciting day in the market tomorrow. Volatility's heating up, and it's a great time to be a trader. So Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, definitely. We saw a lot of momentum to the downside today out of a ton of stocks in the stock market. Now, Mike, I know everybody always says they don't like certain setups, they don't like trend lines, they don't like this, they don't like that. Today, we saw a bunch of big breaks below very, very key levels on many stocks. The SPY got back below this 515, 514 area, ended up running all the way down to 512 before bouncing up at the end of the day. That was a nasty move, and in pre-market, we were actually popping up a little bit right into the all-time high. So we're kind of double topping up here right now. And that was kind of the big indication for me. We had that double top come in, and then right it open, we saw a bunch of sellers come into the market. And this was following the PPI data that came out today that showed inflation was actually a little bit hotter. At the end of the day, it didn't even change anything. I actually go to the FedWatch tool, and they're still pricing in about the same percentage for a cut in June. It seems like everybody has their eyes on June right now. Are they cutting? Are they pausing? Right now, looks like they are still set to cut, and the percentages did not change much. But the market did not like the data, I don't think, and whenever it opened, we saw that drop happen, and NVIDIA's daily chart specifically is starting to get pretty scary. Like, whenever we zoom out, it's been a while since it started to set up with this type of negative connotation to it.
That's the thing. So over the past couple of months, when you look at some of these big tech stocks, whether you're looking at Nvidia, or you could say AMD or SMCI or Meta or Netflix or anything else like that, all you hear is the stock's going up and new all-time highs are made, and it won't stop rising, right? It's just been a giant bull fest for months, but that sentiment is slowly starting to change, and some people are learning the hard way that stocks do not just go up every single day. Sometimes there are pullbacks, right? And we're starting to see that right now. But the reason why this is so interesting is because the current weightings of the top 10 stocks in the S&P 500 are higher right now than they have been in over 45 years. So essentially what that means is, in the current market, the top, big tech stocks literally run the show. It's like whatever those big tech stocks do, the rest of the market does. And they have a direct, giant impact on the market. But as I've been saying over the past couple of days, and even more importantly, they have a giant effect on the sentiment in the overall market, because everyone is looking at Nvidia and SMCI and AMD and all these other stocks. And once people start to see them, let's say, pulling back, the same people who were super bullish a couple weeks ago are pretty quick to jump ship, if that makes sense, with some of their positions. But either way, it's very interesting to see this price action, and all I love is the way that this volatility is heating up, right? It's great to see great moves up, but it's also awesome to see big moves to the downside. And, as a trader, it's all about following the money, follow the momentum, and, don't be afraid to play both directions. Whether the market goes up or down tomorrow, we're looking for where the money's flowing, and we're looking to ride that momentum.
Yeah, exactly. And there were even opportunities up today out of a few stocks. Like Microsoft had a great move today. It's actually closing up pretty high. This one kind of, I would say, went against the overall move of the market. But Microsoft's one of the most influential stocks out there. But then we have, at the opposite end of the spectrum, Tesla down 4%. Tesla's looking brutal, Mike. We go out to the daily chart with them. They are starting to get down very low. I've talked about this in the past few videos and over the past few months that I thought they could get back into this $150 to $100 range. Looks like they're not very far off now with that support starting to give out in the short term. And there was actually an interesting chart that showed used car prices with Tesla cars. And I can't believe how much the used car prices have went down on Teslas, and even just the used car market in general is starting to fall a little bit. But this really is staggering to see, and Tesla's margins are just so low. It's like, man, like they're just continuing to go, and that daily chart is brutal. That's one big stock that's been weighing heavily on the market lately, and now with Nvidia and these others starting to weigh in too, it's starting to snowball a little bit.
Exactly. And as we look at some of these big tech stocks over the past week or so, they've definitely been snowballing to the downside. And one thing that I saw that was very interesting is if we look at this table right here that has data going back about 100 years, we can see that on average, the market has 29 1% down days per year, right? So far this year, there have only been 3 of those days. So it would not be all that crazy to think there might be some more red coming to the market pretty soon. The market today, while it might seem like it fell a decent amount, it only finished down by 0.2%. So if you're someone looking at the market right now and you think today was a huge drop, I got news for you. It can get a whole lot worse. But, looking at the market, again, like I talked about, we're really just looking for momentum and to capitalize off of that. But big tech stocks and the market overall is not the only thing that is starting to pull back. Even Bitcoin had a decent pullback today, and at one point, Tom, it was below the $70,000 level.
It really was. That's a pretty big level from the past couple days, too. Like, if we scroll back, there's a pretty big support going on, like right around like 68,500 to that 70K mark. And it looks like it started to bounce back up off of that, which is a good plus for now heading into tomorrow. But that was definitely a really bad intraday move. And whenever you go look at Coinbase and Mara and Riot, I mean, it was brutal. Coinbase was down 7%. Mara was down 7% too, and it could have even been worse if they're counting the low of days.
You know it. And then, Tom, there aren't any other crazy earnings or economic data points for the week, but what's on the schedule?
Yeah, so we do have Michigan consumer sentiment tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time, so keep that in mind. But next week, we will actually have the FOMC meeting, so that'll be fun. On the earnings side of things, there's really nothing on Friday for tomorrow, maybe JBL in the morning, but that is it.
Sounds good. Well, let's get right into the good stuff for tomorrow, which are some setups and predictions. And one stock I'm watching very closely right now is Coinbase, and it is to the downside. So this stock has been blasting to the upside over the past couple of months or so, and it is starting to pull back as Bitcoin prices are as well. Looking at Coinbase, I would love to see it get below the $228 level tomorrow. If we do see a break below that, I would definitely play it to the downside. But again, I want to see like a continuation down. If Coinbase gaps up tomorrow and starts running to the upside, then there's no point in trying to force it to the downside. You have to follow the money. It's just like I would like to see it break below 228 and then see a flush lower.
Yeah, that would be really awesome tomorrow for Coinbase, and that's a pretty good support level there, so I'll definitely keep my eyes on Coin for tomorrow. With my first play, I'm looking at Tesla to the downside again. I talked about this one yesterday. I had to go back to it. You know, it's having a ton of great movement to the downside right now, getting that good momentum that we talk about, down 4%. The puts went crazy, and whenever you go out to the daily chart, like we looked at earlier in the video, it's so bloody right now. We're even seeing great continuations and bounces off of the overall trend line on the daily chart as well. So that's really consistent. It's been holding up for a couple years now on that trend. So now we're back into this $160 to $150 area. Definitely watch like 150 as support, but I will just watch for another continuation tomorrow, kind of like what we saw today. If we can break below like 160, I think that's where the put opportunities will be.
Yeah, and then how's the book map looking for this one? Because I was looking at it earlier today, and it was pretty active.
It is huge, Mike. 160 right there is so huge. That's why I mentioned 160 being that major level that it is. As we scroll back and see what the shares looked like during open, there was over 500,000 shares stacked up at $160. So that's got to be one of the largest supports that we've seen since like 180 the other day.
Dang, that's crazy. All right, so I'll keep a close eye on Tesla with you tomorrow. Another stock I'm watching for tomorrow is UVXY, and basically when everyone's panicking, this moves to the upside. Again, just like the Coinbase setup, I want to see this one, move in the desired direction before just blindly jumping into it. If UVXY opens down tomorrow and it's not moving to the upside at all, there's no reason trying to justify a long position. What we're looking for is strong, powerful, continuous movement to the upside. And if we don't see that, there's no reason to be in it. So I'm watching UVXY to the upside tomorrow, but I want to see that good momentum-filled bullish price action.
Yeah, let's see it. Today was a really good day on the VIX too. Like, we go out to the daily chart. I know I pointed out this trend line in a few videos ago. It actually came right back down, bouncing right on cue. So I'm definitely watching VIX to the upside myself, along with UVXY in the short term. With my next play, I'm going with an oil stock. Oil was doing great today as the market dropped. Exxon and Mobil, was up 1.77%, having a pretty good move here, all the way up above 111 today, which I thought was a pretty good break to the upside. And then even at close, it kept going. So I'm going to watch for this one to maybe break above 112 tomorrow. Look for a good continuation. It's not going to be something that goes up 5% in a day, probably. But it's kind of like gold. It's a commodity. It will have, those nice steady runs. And we've been seeing that lately. Like, just look at this daily chart and look at all those green candles over the past couple weeks.
There we go. And we've been talking about oil and other energy companies quite a bit over the past month in a bullish way, and it's been awesome to see them move the way they have been. So love to see it. But Tom, it's now about that time for the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have LEN to the downside, which is a pretty big home building company.
Yeah, they had some pretty rough earnings today. If they can break under 152 tomorrow, I'll be looking for more puts and then watch 150 after that.
All right, with the next one, we have TLT to the downside yet again.
Yeah, today was crazy. US 10Y and just yields in general started popping, but I'm going to go ahead and watch for TLT to break back under 92.80.
All right, and then with the last one, we have Netflix for both directions.
Yeah, Netflix was pretty wild. One of the, I would say, like, flatter stocks on the day today, but there's a great support here around 607. So if that gives out, look for puts to the downside. At the same time, there's a great upper resistance. It's kind of channeling right here. So if it's able to break 615.50, then look at calls.
Sounds good. So we have the upside level for calls, and we have the downside level for puts with Netflix. Keep a close eye on this one. And then don't forget about the downside levels with TLT and then LEN. If they break below those levels, we are watching them to the downside. But with these three stocks, we want to see strong, powerful movement and then breakthroughs of the levels Tom listed. If that's the case, we are looking to trade these stocks in the direction they are moving in, as Tom listed, but keep a close eye on them for tomorrow. But today's big money play is a pretty interesting one. So we are looking at ticker symbol TSM yet again, and this probably sounds a little bit familiar to some of you because we just covered this stock the other week. So today we saw the big money put around $427,000 into the TSM 135 strike put options that expire on October 18th of 2024. And just the other week on March 6th, we talked about a almost $1 million TSM put option trade. So as you can see on the chart right now, there are two recent bearish big money plays on this stock. It's back below the major resistance levels around like 150 to 145, which is great to see. The market itself is starting to pull back a little bit. So all in all, I really like the risk to reward with this one still.
I really do too. And, these chip stocks are all kind of setting up the same. If you look at an NVIDIA daily chart or a Taiwan Semiconductor daily chart or even like an SMCI daily chart, they're all starting to kind of turn over up here at the top. And we haven't really seen like these big red candles like this in a while. Like, sure, there's been times where it consolidated, but we didn't see like this type of price action, right? Something might be changing out here, Mike, and I think that these tech stocks and chip stocks are going to be hit the hardest, and Taiwan Semiconductors is in that sector. It's up way too much in the short term. It's overvalued. And at the same time, we're starting to see maybe people take some profits. So I actually really like this big money play. I know a lot of people out there who might be more of like bulls or perma bulls or whatever you want to call them might not necessarily like this play, but at the end of the day, I really do think that it breaking 140 today and then even tomorrow, like maybe making it break 138 could be a great way to go. But let's go, Mike. You know, these stocks are pretty overextended and looks like the big money's trying to play to the downside, and there's going to be a ton of opportunity there.
You know it. So over the past couple of months, it has been an extremely euphoric market where so many stocks have ripped to the upside. But going into the next couple days and the next couple of weeks especially, it will be more important than ever to be adaptable. Some people are stuck in this bullish mindset where stocks only go up. But as we've seen in the past, that is just not true. Sometimes you see pullbacks, and pullbacks are actually a good and healthy thing for the market. So going into tomorrow, be adaptable, follow the money, follow the momentum, and let's end the week on a great note. One other thing I want to talk about before we close out is if you are not already in the StockedUp trading floor, definitely consider joining the crew. Basically, you get full access to our army of trading robots. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long. You get live access to our live events. You get access to the big money trades before they're posted in the YouTube videos and so many other things. If we talked about everything, this video would be a long one, but we could see some of today's plays in the premium portion of the group. Microsoft call options for 62%, SPY put options for 59%, Nvidia put options for 44%, Tesla put options for 54%, and there were even others too, but check it out. It's going to be that first link in the description in the comments down below. It is the real deal. And then while we're in the Discord, I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Sam B. Huge shout out to you for all of your activity and positive comments on the morning live streams. Besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's make tomorrow count.